Hello, Sam Bowen. This is my fourth video. It's going to be uploaded to YouTube. It's concerning the lawsuit, the bullshit lawsuit that Jim Brown Supply of Middlesboro, Kentucky filed against us. That would be me and Donnie Miracle. He was a co-defendant in this lawsuit. Doug Knuckles is the owner of Jim Brown Supply. Actually, Jim Brown Supply, at the time he filed the suit, didn't actually exist in the eyes of the state of Kentucky, as you're supposed to file a certificate of assumed name if you're doing business. If you're incorporated under one name, yet you're doing business under another. Well, he didn't do that. Apparently, he spent so much when he bought the name, he didn't have the $15 to register it. I don't know what his problem was. This is just a misdemeanor. It is in violation of Kentucky KRS 365.15. But this misdemeanor he actually committed over and over again for 10 plus years. Jim Brown Supply did not exist in the eyes of the state until December of 2010. I know this to be a fact because I reserved the name for $15 and held it for a little while. Now, his lawyer was aware of this. I sent him a registered letter. I sent Mr. Knuckles a letter. They never took the name down. They just ignored it like they always do. Now, the law doesn't matter to these people. Understand, this is a little kingdom, and they're the princes of it, or whatever they think. C. Bishop Johnson's his attorney. He's a member of Kaywood and Johnson law firm in Pineville, Kentucky. He's also on the board of directors of Bell Whitley and a few other things. You know, he's an up-and-coming young politician, I guess, whatever he wants to be. He's also, during the time of this lawsuit, actually we were due to go to court within 2 months, and he took a case from Donnie Miracle's parents, child custody thing. Actually had consultations with Donnie, talked to Donnie and all that stuff. Took $1,100 and some he made off them. He had to give part of it back because he didn't show up at the hearing. And I know because I was with them at the hearing and he didn't show up. So apparently, it depends on who you are whether he shows up for these things or not. That's just my opinion because he didn't show up for that and he'd already been paid. That should be a conflict of interest, and in most places it would. He's also a Freemason. I mention this only because, well, we'll get to why in a few minutes, but he is a Freemason. He is the master of Bell Lodge in Pineville. He's not qualified to be master of Bell Lodge, and he's not qualified to be a Mason. But he is. And certain people helped him get where he was at, that kind of thing. It's the same old Bell County story of politics and ass kissing and whatever it takes to get ahead. The only reason he wanted to be a Freemason is to look good on his resume. That's not supposed to be why you are in this thing. He took me to court based solely on unsigned invoices. Had no evidence. For 6 hours, we heard of Doug's brave struggle to carry out business in this town. Doug Knuckles, he is what he is. He's a politically well-connected, big-time Democrat and all that stuff, and that's all it takes around here. Really, politics enters into about everything that goes on around here. Juries they are what they are. I mean, when you draw from the population of the county for a jury, you better be careful who you let on. In fact, one of the jurors actually stood up in open court and said he was under investigation for being tampered with or some crap like that. I don't know if he did it or not. I'm not accusing the man of it. I'm just saying he was accused of it. You would think, you know, that might disqualify him from jury service, but no, he was still at least eligible to be impaneled on that jury. Mm-hmm. For 6 hours, we listened to Bishop Johnson talk about what a fine, upstanding member of the community Doug was. Doug doesn't live in Bell County. Doug lives in Harrogate, Tennessee to avoid paying the taxes over here, and I'm sure he avoids paying taxes any way he can, which might explain the reason he didn't register with the state. I don't know what his reasons were. Don't care. But Doug is, you got to take into consideration that Doug, because the judgment that came down against me and Donnie is $7,000 is legal fees. If they sued us for $8,800, you're not much of a businessman if you're willing to spend $7,000 fucking dollars to sue for $8,800 fucking dollars. You're not too friggin' bright. I mean, that's just my opinion. You just ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer. Now, the reason I mentioned that Bishop is a Mason is because guess who my attorney is? He's Ken Boggs out of Barberville, Kentucky. And for God's sakes, don't none of y'all ever hire him for anything. You could actually probably get a death sentence from a parking ticket because of this idiot. He's a Freemason. He's a big member of Mountain Lodge in Barberville. And he's one of their great, he does their open installations, and he's a member of the school board, and he's this great big political dickhead down there. So don't hire him. Now, all this is my opinion, okay? I'm entitled to my opinion. I do think the man's a totally useless dickhead. He's not a Mason either. There's no honor in him. The reason I know these people are Masons is because I am one too, okay? I joined. I mean, I did. I wanted to be a Mason. I thought it was a good thing. And they do a lot of charitable work and a lot of good work. And in some areas, it may mean something. I mean, you go up north, you go to Lexington or someplace, that masonry may be what it's meant to be. But here, it's turned into political bullshit, and people just using it for their own reasons, their own gain and that kind of thing. This lawsuit was never based on us not getting anything from Jim Brown Supply. We had a verbal agreement with Doug that he would supply the materials for this job for $3,500, which was a little more than State Electric would have charged us. When we get the bill, it's $8,800. Now understand, people, this is about a 2-car garage. This is not a huge building. This is an aircraft hangar for a rubber band wind-up helicopter. This helicopter is not that big. But anyway, for 14 receptacles and 8 lights and some switches, we're supposed to pay $8,800. I can buy the material, exactly that material, right now at State Electric for about $3,600 if I went down and priced it all. That's everything. That's the conduit and all this crap he's trying to charge me for. We never said we didn't get any of it. We said we didn't get that much. We're trying to, the price was what we were balking at. And while Mr. Knuckles could not believe or could not remember what our verbal agreement, he could remember that his buddy, Marvin Arnett of then Tri-Area, before it went bankrupt, Tri-Area Electrical, had bid against us and bid $1,500. Now he knew that. He knew that he'd bid $1,500 more than us and we got the job. That's kind of suspicious that you and the contractor had that close of a friggin' relationship, because I would not have told you what we bid. I mean, it's none of your business. You're supplying the stuff, that's all. We tried to do business with a local company and we got screwed, is what happened. Ken Boggs, when he shows up in court, he charges me $3,000, every penny of it paid before we go to court. He understood the case fully. The $3,500 was not contested. The $8,800, however, was. Well, he gets over there and he says, no, I can't defend you on this. Now, you understand, court, it's going on 9 o'clock. Court's about to go in session. I have nothing to do. Nothing I can do. But go in there with this lump of nothing and sit there and watch him let them hang me and accuse me of being like mentally messed up, which I didn't know you could do that. I mean, we're not talking about a murder case. My sanity, I don't know why my sanity was questioned. It was simply that Bishop had no evidence. The judge should have said something, but he didn't. Now, there's reasons for that, I'm sure. Probably the church members going to church together with the plaintiff and stuff. I'm sure might have had a little something. I don't know. Don't know. I wasn't there. I do know that Ken Boggs called me the following Monday and told me that he knew we were going to lose because the judge and Doug Knuckles and all of them were in there handshaking and buddying up. Well, that should have been enough to say I want this trial moved. I want to change venue or something. The way that I know these people are Masons is, like I say, I am one too. But December the 27th of this year, I will no longer be one. I resigned. I can't, in good conscience, walk away from a job I took at the Pinnacle Lodge. I will go ahead and finish that job because that's what we do. Your word's got to mean something, and that's why I'm going to finish it. There's a lot of good men in Pinnacle. There's a lot of good men in Bell. There's a lot of good men in Mountain Lodge. But Bishop Johnson and Ken Boggs are not to be counted amongst them. They're not honorable, they're not upstanding, and they sure don't know what justice is. Bishop asked me in deposition, what did I do when I was owed money? I'll tell you what I do, and I shouldn't say this, because this is probably an open invitation for me to get screwed. I don't sue people. I never have. And I'm not going to. To make the enemies and waste the money, suing somebody is not worth it. I just won't do business with them anymore, basically. I write it off on my taxes and I move on. My lawyer wouldn't let me answer that question, but I'm answering it now. I do not sue. The only person I considered suing was a local doctor who could have paid me. By the way, he had the money. Because if you sue an individual in the state of Kentucky, you can't collect. Unless the man is filthy rich or wins the lottery, you're not going to collect. I couldn't sue the doctor that owed me the money, I could have collected off of, because all the lawyers that I talked to, and believe me, I talked to a few of them, would tell me, oh, I can't sue him. He does our accident cases for us. In other words, we can't bust our knees and chase ambulances without this piece of shit. I'm not going to identify the doctor because he's sued happy son of a bitch, and I guarantee you he'd come after me. He sues everybody. He even sues lawyers. He's done that. I mean, and everybody knows me knows who this guy is. But we're not going to mention his name, okay? He knows who he is too. The sumbitch had enough nerve to call me and want me to do more work for him after he didn't pay me. That's the kind of people these are. They are so self-absorbed and such kings of their little worlds that they think you will break your neck to work for them after they have fucked you very thoroughly. Well, I'm going to wrap this up now. I don't want it to get too long. There will be another one as soon as I can get around to it. Y'all have a good day.